go. I got to lean in.
What is going on, everybody? It is me again. It is time to lean in, bitch, for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on, Asia and Antonio? Um, I'm just really glad that we're here talking about an episode because, in the great words of our co-host Jasmine, who's not here today, finally we have a good episode.
Yes.
I would say a decent episode. I thought I was pretty entertained. It kept me very much so in tune. I'm excited to talk about it, and let's kind of get into it. If you're watching right now, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see Thai TV. Jasmine's here. Jasmine, I made this shirt today just for you. Okay, just for you because I'm like, you know what? Finally, maybe we'll make it an official merch shirt. I don't know, but right now,
I think it's gonna be good merch. I think that's something people would buy. I think we need to make it.
Well, they got to buy the official stuff first. I mean, you ain't got no lean shirt. How you gonna want to wear finally? I'm just saying.
I don't know. Finally, might get you a discount code if you put it in.
It might. You know what? Listening to Asia, we might just do that. Y'all vote for Asia for president, okay?
Okay.
All right, shout out to Kevin in the chat, Nushka, Kevin, Nushka, Taylor, TKC is here, Ashley, the Mocha Barbie. Okay, are you going to see Barbie this Friday? Who's going to see Barbie this Friday? Honestly, my little gay ass is probably going to be there to see Barbie. Well, no, I may not be able to see it this weekend, but sometime in the next week because I have to go out this weekend. But
I'm gonna go see it.
Okay, you gonna go see it?
I am.
Good. I don't know, Tony. Are you going to see it?
Nah.
You didn't play with Barbies as a little boy?
I did not.
Okay, you said no, sir. I did not.
No, I had my hands in all the Barbies, but
I'll wait till they play it on like BET or something.
Stop playing with us, Antonio. You know Tyler ain't gonna let that happen.
I don't think it's gonna be on BET, Antonio. If anything, it might make it to VH1.
Well, he did buy that. But...
It is this. It is not this. Let's just be very clear. All right, so let's get into. Come on, Bratz dog. I didn't get a Bratz. Bratz was a little hood for me. I ain't going for the culture. I just thought it just wasn't Barbie. That's just me.
Bratz was hood for you, Cortez.
Yeah, them big old shoes, them big old.
Not for Mia shoes, not me. The Bratz was Mia.
Right.
Not the Mia shoes. Days you crazy.
Let's get into the episode. It's a lot to discuss. I mean, I was surprised at how much notes I took. So I'll make sure, of course, I keep it short and sweet and get us in and out of here. But we pick up this episode. So we know that the girls are going to Portugal. But before Portugal, it is Thanksgiving. So we see all the ladies, the peaches, having their Thanksgiving meals. I was closely looking with both my bad eyes trying to see whose food did not look good. Everybody's food looked decent. Maybe it was the camera quality. I don't know. But everybody had their meals. So happy Thanksgiving to them and us at that time. And so we find out that Brooklyn meets her grandfather for the first time. He was in the early episodes, right? Am I not like
yes.
Yeah,
for her mom and stuff, right? Okay. So I remember him being in episodes. I just came here. I'm like, he looks familiar. But we see that. It's a small scene. So the first big scene, which actually I thought was very entertaining, was a brunch that was hosted at Drew's, but it was hosted by Ralph and the men. So, you would have thought it was Mother's Day. But I guess the message behind it was that, the guys are doing good. Let's try to get these ladies on one accord, for they go on this trip. I thought the intent was great. So everybody arrives. Everybody brings their man, with the exception of Kenya and Sheree. Courtney comes, she brings Bryce. Kandi knows Bryce. Kandi knows every damn body. I'm starting to be like, I be want to know how she know, because she never really gives a straight answer. She just be like, oh, I know him. And I'm like,
how you Kandi and Monica, they know everybody.
That's true. I mean, being from in Atlanta forever, you could probably know a lot of people. So, we don't really know what that's about. But they Kandi is just like, not really sure, how she knows and whatever. And then they also say that they meet Drew's sister. I don't know if y'all caught that, but Drew threw a little shade at Kandi because she said, well, you weren't at the video shoot. Because allegedly Kandi hasn't really been at a lot of the events this season. I mean, they mentioned that I think in the previous episode. So I don't know if she's gonna get a shorter check this year. I don't know if she's considered the highest paid anymore, but she really she's been around. But if you think about it, she's doing more scenes by herself. And then when she's in the group scene, she's kind of not really there, as I would say.
I agree.
So it's that's something that let's look at. Mayetta looks good. I thought she looked good. She'd arrive with her husband Heath, and Sheree gets there, and the first thing she does, she asks Kenya about her man and why is he not there, because she was so excited to meet him. And Kenya's like, "Oh girl, you'll meet him." And Drew comes in and says, "Well, where's your man, Sheree?" And I'm just like, "Well, that's a valid question, because where is Martell? We haven't seen him since the very first episode or two." But if I was him, I wouldn't come around either, because
I would not be nowhere near
the way that went down. I wouldn't want to be around either. And so after that, Marlo arrives. She comes with her boo, and I was actually surprised that she got him to come, just in general, because like this is her mini storyline this season, so he's there. And Kandi knows him too. She don't really say how she know him, but she knows him too. So we just go with that. And then, but she's also very surprised that, she would talk to somebody like that, considering that she's allegedly likes, rich white men and people with money and stuff like that. I don't think that was shade at her or shade at him, but we both of us would be looking at her like, what that mean, Kandi? And so then they talk about Kandi's new movie, and we find out that Kenya's like, why haven't I been hit up? Why haven't you tried to cast me? And she's like, well, actually, Drew is the main character. She is the person in this movie. And they're like, you casted Drew? There was a little bit of shade there from Kandi, just talking about how, she plays a young and naive person in real life. So it was her for the role, which I don't know if that was in consideration. And, Drew throws her shade at Kenya being in Twa 50,000 years ago, back in the prehistoric time, BC.
In the
90s. And I'll stop right there and get you guys' thoughts on just that scene. Just Kandi knowing everybody, and mainly this whole thing about Drew throwing shade at Kenya, because Kenya didn't like the shade. Kenya is very active on social media. She posts after every episode, and she does not like the shade that Drew threw at her. So I asked you, do you think it was serious? Do you not see any harm in it? Or what's your thoughts on anything related in this scene? I'll start with you, Asia.
I think the shade was valid, because Kenya, don't nobody want to cast you for nothing. Like, she was in a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean she was a good actress in a lot of stuff. She was just that video girl, as Portia would say, a slut from the 90s. But Kenya, don't nobody want to cast you. And I think Drew is a little bit more relevant.
A little bit
acting, a lot more relevant. Like, she was even in the TLC movie. Like, she is a good actress. She acts on TV every Sunday for us. So I think the scene overall was a very good scene. The brunch was given like old Atlanta vibes for some strange reason. I don't know how to put it together, but it was giving old Atlanta vibes. It was giving good shade. In terms of Marlo bringing that man, I thought that was nice. I think Marlo is older now and she's getting her own money now, so she doesn't have to be with men for money as much as she used to, and she has a lot of stuff, so she can probably just either get some D and have him around for that because he's a little bit younger than her, or she like him.
Okay, Tonell.
I thought I enjoyed the brunch scene. For the reason that Asia said, it reminded me a lot of old Atlanta. I always like to see the housewives get together and do rich stuff. Now, granted, we all can get our friends over for brunch, but I like to see them show up and what they're gonna wear, what they're gonna have on. Now, Kandi didn't get the memo that she needed to put like a heel on or something. I don't know. She thought she was going over Aunt Bertha's house.
Kandi don't give. She want to film it all this season.
Kandi was going over Aunt Bertha's house, and I didn't understand Drew's under situation. I think her blazer was too small to close, so she had no other choice but to leave it open. But I like the whole setup. I like that all of the guys were there, doing their thing. That was great. Kandi does know everybody, but I kind of expected, especially if you are from or rooted in Atlanta some type of way, just because she'd been in the industry for 3/4 of her life, pretty much. So that's understandable. I thought that the shade that Drew threw at Kenya, while it was I mean, Kenya didn't downplay Drew or anything like that. So that shade to me just kind of seemed like unwarranted. Like you just gonna pull your gun out and shoot. I didn't see that Kenya did anything to warrant that shade from Drew. I did not.
Antonio.
Was it really shade though? I don't really.
That was hold up, Cortez. If your friend, because they supposed to be friends, or friendly, or whatever.
I'm gonna let you finish, Antonio.
For the show, gets on there and says, "Oh yeah, well, I mean, you know, I got blah 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 follows on my YouTube channel, but you know, Cortez ain't really relevant. He only got blah 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 follows."
But she didn't say
you
that.
Don't think that would be shade?
Oh, but see, I don't think it was that serious. I thought it
wasn't that serious, but I think for somebody like Kenya and your friend kind of coming at you like that, like, child, she basically called Kenya irrelevant.
Okay, but Kenya just said that her video was low budget.
Thank you.
I mean, she just said that, and
to me, it's Drew though.
And
Drew don't know she said that.
But well, she does. Yes, she did, because she took like it. She didn't take like to it on social media. So what I'm saying is, like,
but she filmed that confessional prior.
Shade is shade, right? But I'll say this: if you're looking from this is my perspective, because it's my square. I just feel like, you know, her being in TWA 20 years ago, it's irrelevant. Like, she brings it up, she takes pride in it. It ain't like she said, "Oh, she was Miss America 50,000 years ago." It's same thing, but I just feel like Drew is currently an actress. She was just T-Boz not too long ago. I just saw it on my damn TV screen. I don't even know if TWA would play on my 75-inch screen TV. I don't know what it would look like. I'm just saying it's old and this is new. And Drew is currently still an actress. I just feel as though, you know, that was something that Kenya fell into. I don't think anybody will book Kenya these days ever.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I think what you guys, and right, that is your square and this is mine. So I'm not saying that. I'm not meaning in that way, like, oh, she's you know, more relevant or, you know, more easily booked than Kenya. What I'm saying is she took the chance to throw shade at her friend.
Yeah. Just like Kenya took the chance to throw shade at her.
And it still don't make it right.
Yeah, it don't make it right, but I just feel like
it just makes it the show.
They said they even. I think they even now. So at this rate, Kenya, you don't be on social media making a whole think piece and rant about blah, like, it ain't my friend. Y'all are still friends. Hopefully this is not. I mean, I'm sure it'll come up, but let's not. Hey, and they taking questions for the reunion, so send those questions in. Maybe I'll try to send it.
Andy not gonna ask none of our questions.
Yeah, you got to put a fake name. You know, Shaquila from Timbuktu,
Kansas.
I don't know, but I didn't feel like it was that serious personally. I don't think Kenya should be on Twitter doing that. Like, I didn't think it was that bad.
Kenya does that to everybody.
But Drew did get upset too when Kenya made her comment. You know, so as I would say, they're even.
Okay. Yeah. Another thing, really quickly, kind of still pertaining to that brunch. I don't know what Courtney did to convince Bryce to come to these filmings with her to make her more viable for this role, but he clearly don't want to be there.
Oh, he looks off.
Candace said, "Oh, I
get a haircut for this.
You.
Why won't he get his haircut for filming?"
I don't know.
Because he's not a bad looking guy now. Like, he's very handsome still. He just keep throwing on the same black t-shirt.
Just unkept.
And won't get his haircut.
He's unkept.
That's what Sammy just. I don't know. She needs to get him a haircut. He should not be coming to an event at all on the camera. He should even be taking selfies, using Snapchat filters, nothing. He needs to get a haircut and then come back to the show. Period.
And one other thing, have we seen Marlo say anything about Scott Lee? I guess maybe since filming Wrapped or posted about him or anything she has?
On the after show, I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she said stuff about him there, but it doesn't seem like she didn't mention it like they were still dating.
Oh, okay.
But she talked about bringing him, and I think she talked about when he came in, nobody acknowledging him really, and she said they were kind of mean.
Okay.
To the man.
All right, let's move on. We're gonna talk about some more about this stuff. We got a lot to discuss still. So part 2 of this brunch, RHOA, which is Kenya's boo. I like that hat too. Did you looking down? I like that hat.
Thank you.
You should send it to me.
I'll get you one, but you know what you got to do to get it.
Oh, this became Lean After Dark. Okay.
Can I get one without the price?
Nah, you got to do it too. Okay.
I don't want to do it.
You at least got to sit and watch.
I'll do that.
Okay, so Roy calls Kenya. This is the guy that she's dating. And Marlo, apparently, she knows him. She makes it known immediately. She knows him and she dated him and been on a date with him, and he was all in her DMs. And I was just like, I mean, you know, he is white and with money, so that's usually her type, right? That they be saying that's her type, so it would make sense, right? So Kenya walks off. She's all on the phone, talking all in love, and Marlo is just like, "Yeah, girl, I dated him, and here's the DM." And she actually has the DM. It's not deleted. Makes it clear. She like, I don't know how to work this thing. How you find his name? She basically makes them find it and find the actual DM and stuff like that. And I guess he commented on like some outfit she should wear, something like that. And so when Kenya comes back, Marlo says, "What are the chances that we?" I was like, "Oh Lord, bitch, trying to make it known, trying to get under Kenya's skin, you know, whatever, sure." And so Kenya throws her little shade about like, "Yeah, girl, he may have talked to you then, but he don't want you now, blah blah blah." And so they kind of leave that alone. So then Sheree, I don't know where this even came from. Maybe it was editing, but she said, "Hey Drew, is you gonna pay that chef over there?" I was like, "Damn, what the hell is going on?" So you know, is he gonna get paid? And so they mentioned this lawsuit where Drew is facing or whatever. And you know, Drew immediately catches the shade, but she explains what happens and that she's been sued for $1,000. And the girls are like, $1,000, girl, I can give you that right now. Yeah, so Sheree feels like Sheree is poking. She was like, I thought we were good. And Sheree's like, yeah, we are good. And Sanya kind of ends this scene by talking about like everyone, well, not ends the scene, but talks about like everyone mending their relationship. So I want to ask you guys, for one, I'll say, like Kenya said in the after show, people are sued for less. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm probably about to sue somebody very soon myself, but it's more than $1,000. And so with that being said, did y'all see any issue with that? And how do y'all feel about, you know, Marlo having some kind of connection, whatever was date or not, with the guy that Kenya is dating?
As far as Marlo bringing that up, I actually appreciated Marlo in that moment for kind of doing it the way she did it. Like she didn't wait, you know, months or anything like that, or for them to be in like a solidified relationship to be like, oh, well, yeah, I went on a date with him. And Marlo did, when they tried to put a little bit more sauce on what the situation was between Marlo and Roy, she did correct it in that moment to say, no. We never dated. We went out like on a lunch date or whatever. It wasn't that serious. So I do appreciate it. She showed the DMs right then. She didn't wait. She didn't do any of that. So I did appreciate Marlo with the W at the end in that moment. As far as Sheree throwing her shade, while I think it was funny the way she kind of just jumped into it, I still think that I thought her and Drew kind of were like on a better road to, you know, going better places. I don't know. That was funny though, but it's crazy that Sheree brought that up when we all know Sheree backstory and paying people. She in her mind feels like if she don't want to pay you, she shouldn't have to pay you. The $1,000 was crazy to me, especially for one of them. It's like, girl, you're gonna waste your time is more than $1,000. And she said she won the lawsuit and she represented herself. Okay, kudos to you, Kim Kardashian. But you should just went ahead and saved your time and went ahead and just paid that $1,000. It was like, you are a celebrity. $1,000 shouldn't be something that gets you shaken up like that.
Yeah. Asia.
Drew is a liar because in that moment she said the lawyers are handling it. But then come on the after show, she represented herself. Then she said it was $1,000, but come on the after show, it got up to $10,000. You a lying.
Maybe it was legal fees. I don't know.
I done sue people. I done sued and won. I know civil court. You can't just keep changing the price. You can't change what you sue for. The judge will, but you can't. You have to enter in a whole nother thing.
I'm gonna add allegedly at the bottom because I don't want you to come to sue us for another $1,000. I don't want her to add
allegedly.
So I put a Leslie at the bottom. I don't want her to sue
allegedly
for another $1,000. Because baby, look, let me tell you.
Allegedly, Drew is an allegedly liar because allegedly her lawyer was handling it, but then allegedly she represented herself, allegedly for $1,000 to allegedly $10,000.
That was gossip by Asia. I like that. Okay. So the last part of this was actually kind of unexpected, but they announced that Courtney is going on a trip. They're excited for her going, and Kenya's like, I don't know how it's gonna go between Courtney and Kandi, and then Courtney's like, of course you would, and she's like, kind of touching her or doing this little motion. She kind of like does. She's sitting next to her. She touches her, and Kenya tells her, "Could you just please like not touch me though?" And Courtney says, "Like I'm not touching." She was like, "Well, just respect my boundaries." And before anything can be said, Drew just kind of defends her and says, "She's just letting you know that she has boundaries." And before it can go anywhere else, Candy's like, "I'm gonna take me and my Doc Martin boots outfit, get on that because I don't want anything to go left." So, any thoughts on this little thing between Courtney and Kenya? We'll talk about it more later, but any thoughts on this part? It's kind of weird.
Kandi did seem like she was just like, "Child, I'm just here to make sure I appear in the episode," but she did not seem. She just doesn't seem like herself this season.
What's herself? Boring?
I mean, but no, like even in previous seasons, she at least was sometimes acting, but she's just like sitting there like she just does not want to be there.
It's time for her to take an exit just because like we're bored, she's bored. So that's just a lot of boredness. And it's just too much.
I've seen this from her a couple seasons ago. Like she's been bored. And I really feel like it because she really would always have issues with Nene and Portia. And they're gone. So she doesn't have anything to do.
It's fine. Like if you watch the Real Housewives of New York reboot, the reboots are becoming a thing. They're doing a good job. I think
the first episode was pretty good. So
we're gonna talk about it tomorrow, by the way, at 8:30. So make sure y'all check it out, 8:30 Eastern, same time as today, but tomorrow. But I want to say, I think Jamie and Chase were having dialogue this morning in our group chat, and they both made a good point that honestly, Atlanta has had some good casting, but they're casting with these other women like Kandi and Kenya. Maybe they need to do a full. They should probably keep Drew and people like that, even Shamari, and put them on these casts with these new people because it needs a rebranding. I think Kenya gonna be going until they kick her out. I'm not gonna say she's not gonna leave. Kenya's
they're gonna have to fire her.
They're gonna have to fire her. But Kandi, it may be time. She's uninterested, and we're uninterested. So, baby, just go on over back to the
all a favor, allegedly.
Okay. All right. So it's that scene is over. Kandi leaves. It's the day of travel. Kandi has food poisoning. She has in our terms of gay culture, a shitty kitty, which means that she is pooping up a storm on this plane. But this happens on the plane. You can tell she's like not feeling it even then. This is a valid reason because if I had a shit kitty, I wouldn't really want to, especially to travel like that, and you have to travel. I'm sure she would
8 hours on a plane.
On a plane bathroom.
It was like a regular plane. It wasn't like an Emirates with it wasn't no fancy nothing. It was like a Delta flight.
Well, I'm sure they were they not? They probably were in
They looked like they was in first class.
First class, but the bathroom not bigger.
Bathroom's the same.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I do international, I like getting on the nicer planes because they at least have bigger bathrooms. Yeah. More options.
Yeah.
This is like a regular 747.
Come on, 747. What you know about the planes?
I be on a plane every week, baby. I know my planes now.
You be listening to the captain.
Mm-hmm. I be reading a little card.
This evident. It was this is how I felt about this whole scene. Just I wanted to do this. Listen to the scene. I'm like, oh my God.
But I watched Speak on It though, and she kind of, Kandi is very open about her stuff. She talked about like how she was like in that little bathroom and how she was trying to be over the sink and over the toilet. So I know a little boo-boo got on that Louis Vuitton sweatsuit. I'm sure.
Not a little chicklet. This is getting disgusting.
Yes, because she's talking about she's over the toilet.
This is disgusting.
She's over the sink, and then she's like she had to scoop it out of the sink because it wouldn't go down and throw.
We gonna put Antonio at the lean sewer headquarters. We gonna because whenever they get built, we're gonna put him over
I'm
there.
Sorry, y'all.
I'm just talking. So they get there, and they're on the bus. Sheree speaks positive energy. Kenya throws her little shade by looking away. In other words, like, girl, this is not gonna be a positive thing. But then they have like lunch, and at lunch we find out that Drew says that Ralph is in Vegas. You know, she's worried because anytime Ralph is not home, she's concerned because we still don't know what happened in Tampa. Was it Tampa?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened in Tampa. So she, at this point, she don't want him to leave Atlanta, like county, Fulton County rather. That's her concern. But she also mentions that not only is he there, but he's been approached to audition for Black Magic Mike. And all the girls are like, what? You know, Monyetta says she's been to the show before, but none of them can just imagine him being in Magic Mike because I don't know if it was shaded his penis size because, you know, they made it very clear that they got big penises on that show. But they was all like, Ralph on Magic Mike, you know. So thoughts on Ralph being at Magic on the Magic Mike show? I wouldn't mind seeing it, you know. That's just me. But who am I? It's just my square. Asia, would you want to see Ralph at the Magic Mike show?
I wouldn't mind seeing Ralph, but if Ralph was my husband, he wouldn't be doing that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he wouldn't be doing that.
Well, knowing what we know now, it makes sense, right?
Knowing what we know now, it seemed like this whole thing was really Drew's fault, but
we go. You know what? As we get into this second half of the season, I don't know. You know, I'm starting to think that, but we ain't seen it yet. I'm just going based off the mid-season trailer, but I will say this too, Drew. It's something like this second half of the season is going to be all about her. And I'm glad that she's, you know, whether we like her, think she lame, whatever. I do think she's stepping more into this role, and she's really making her footing in this franchise. That's my opinion. And we're starting to see that now. Okay, so they check into their hotels, and as they are in their hotels, there's a couple of conversations going on. I'll mention them all, and then we can speak on all of them, but I'll mention them all at once. So Drew and Monyetta are talking, and Drew has been to South Africa, but not Africa. I was like, Housewives are probably the slowest women on TV. They always say stuff. I was just like, when she said it, I wasn't watching it, but I looked up and said, huh? Huh? Girl, what? But Monyetta was like, okay, girl, yeah, but I got an orphanage over there. And I thought that was very nice to hear. She was like, I think she said orphan. She said, no, I have an orphanage over there. And so that was mentioned. Kudos to Monyetta. I think I kind of see why they, you know, it's good to learn more about her. She's still a snooze, but you know, it's good that she is given to a great cause. And so from that, you know, Drew talks about Sheree bringing up her lawsuit. And she just feels like if she was concerned, she should have called her, right? So then in the other conversation, Kenya and Kandi are talking, and Kenya mentions her court date. And Kandi says the one thing that I feel like we've all been saying for like ever. I know Jasmine would love to be able to talk about this right now. But she says, I'm so tired of you and your 3-year divorce. I think Jasmine said it was 5 years, right? I think it's actually like 5.
I know. I feel like it was like, it's 4 right now. It's at 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a long damn time. And Kandi said she was over it. I'm over it. Kenya even spoke on social media and said that, you know, and Kandi said it to her face. So you know what? Go ahead, Kandi. She did. But Candy's tired of everything, not just the 3-year divorce. That's what I'm getting on TV. She's tired. But Kenya talks about Roy and says that Roy told her about Marlo and that he doesn't even follow her. It wasn't a date. He didn't take her out to eat. She obviously Marlo don't know what a date is because she didn't get no meal, no steak. So yeah, and also she throws more shade at Marlo being a prostitute by saying that, you know, well, basically saying that he's not paying her or something like that. Same little shade she been throwing at Marlo about being a whore or whatever. And the last one was Sonya and Marlo. And you know, Sonya just feels like Kenya talking to Roy is relatable to Martell sliding in her DMs. And so I'll get you guys' thoughts on either of those scenes. I'll start with you, Asia. You can speak on each 3 of those scenes.
I'll speak specifically what Sonya said. It's the same thing. Like it's actually worse because the DM was still there and not deleted by Roy. And Kandi tried to clean it up in the after show. I think it's saying like, oh, well, no, because Monyetta introduced this guy to her. So that's how it's different. But Sheree and Martell also met through a mutual friend. So it's the exact same thing once again. And I think it's very funny how Marlo's really not saying, she's like, poking at it like, get my sloppy seconds. But she's not digging into it like, yeah, I had him first, blah, blah, blah. She's just being kind of coy with it. And I'm like, kudos to you, because you could have literally done what they did to Sheree. Because they was like, oh, look at the DM. Oh, like they were really, really trying to get Sheree out of here for the same exact thing. And that's how you know they kind of look like clowns to me for doing it that way. And then Marlo turns around and didn't do it. Mayetta is still mourning. Glad she got an orphanage. And I want to say, I think Drew went to Chicago public schools.
Oh, they're gonna get you now. I don't know who is from
Chicago. I don't care. I went to the Latin school.
She don't care. Listen,
I went to the Latin school, okay?
And they ain't gonna do nothing about it, okay? So don't meet us outside the studio because I'll be out there waiting. Tonio?
So yeah, we all tired of Kenya's divorce. It's sad to see a fucking divorce last longer than the marriage. Like, yeah, I don't even know what they fighting about. It's crazy. Drew, bless her heart, she was legit serious. Like, I've been to South Africa, but never Africa. I was like, okay, that's interesting. It was funny though when she thought Mayetta said she has a village there, because
village. This was a village.
We could have went to your village, and she was like, no, I don't have a village. I just have an orphanage, which is good to like learn of those kind of charitable contributions that she does. Just like you guys, I still think that she is boring, but I don't know, maybe it might be something more interesting there as far as from a personal aspect and not necessarily like a drama type aspect. I don't know. And then she has Heath. I like Heath. Is Heath white or is he black? What is he?
He's white.
He's white? Oh, okay.
He just sound a little urban.
Okay.
Yeah, he like Paul Wall,
Yeah.
Because I started, and at first I was like, I know this man white, but last time I was like, is he white? Maybe
his grandma mixed. Maybe, his grandma the same race as Ashley grandma.
Is it like Sheila? Because if that's the race,
and yeah, the situation with Marlo and Roy, it was the same. But like I said, kudos to Marlo with a W on the end for handling it and going ahead and saying, hey, look, I went on a date with the guy. But another thing, when does going on a date mean that y'all got to go and eat steak or something fancy? A date can mean a lot of different things. Can you tripping? Like, okay, Marlo went on a date with him. She shouldn't be that bothered by it, especially being that it was from 2018, so 5 years ago.
I see a comment too from William. What's going on, William? He said, well, I'll put it up there to action right now. I'll come back to this one. But I think the difference between Martell's response and he said Roy, not Coy. But Courtney really, was Corey really approaching the way that Martell was? No, not really.
Well, Roy ain't been around. That's why I feel like Kenya wants to make it seem like that whatever they're doing is a lot more to me than what it actually is. I feel like he maybe liked Kenya, but it seems like she likes him 100 times more, because she gets all schoolgirl and shit when he on the phone, and he just be like, yeah, what's up? I'm on my way to Miami. I'm all back.
Kenya is an actress 20 years ago, so yeah, she may got a little bit of actress left in her.
That movie was filmed in 1998.
Yeah, I was like,
so it's a good 25 to 60.
I was 9 years old. My God.
I can't on Kandi speak on it. She actually played a clip of it, and Kenya booty was like not the way it is now, because they showed.
We know that booty fake. She got fat in her
allegedly
repurposed into her bloodstream. You might have to put it at the bottom again just to remind me. I'm not cussing though. I'm not cussing.
Listen, listen. Rome was not built in a day, so I get
it. We doing good.
Look at Taylor said Heath is Paul Wall white. Exactly, that's what I said. Paul Wall, like rob the jewelry store and then make me a grill.
Smile for me, Daddy.
Jesus.
Not smile for me, Dad. Okay, that's what he been telling me.
He be performing around down here in Houston, so I be seeing him.
I didn't watch Twa, y'all, so I don't know. Maybe if they release,
but they made multiple twas though. I think too.
Well, I didn't watch Kenya's Twa.
What is the? I never heard of this
know
movie a day in my life.
You
I know.
haven't where they brought the person in, they end up having a threesome and all of that kind of stuff.
And maybe because I was 9, but when it came out, no.
But another thing though, it is kind of interesting to see Drew playing in this movie, and she's married to this guy, and they spice it up, and a woman like turns her out or whatever, and then these allegations come out about this woman and her. That was kind of interesting. Now, granted, let me say this: Ty is a very handsome woman. Is that? I don't know if that's politically correct or not. Ty's very handsome. In person, extremely handsome.
Todd?
Ty.
Not Todd. Ty, the girl, Mimi's ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
the one they say Drew was messing with.
Okay, because I said we're not talking about Ty.
No, Ty.
Okay.
The woman.
That's a very attractive person.
Okay. Yeah. Don't come for me in the comments, because the way I'm feeling now, y'all can get cussed out because I said it was attractive.
Well, Jasmine feel like you switched it up because she ain't here, Antonio. That's what she's saying in the comments.
Tell Jasmine to stay in the comments.
Oh, she gonna come out the comments in a minute.
Rich gonna get you, baby.
No, it's her day off, so she can't come up here. She should have came. All right. So we get to, they're headed to dinner, and Marlo gives this story about sardines. And I'm just like, I get what you're trying to do, but that's okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, sardines and spam, all this stuff like that. We had that stuff when I was growing up too. So when they get to the restaurant, she says sardines, and the man is like, no, these are anchovies, ma'am, with your uncultured ass.
You're not worldwide.
Loud and wrong.
But she's right. It's like just loud and wrong. They order shots, but they actually get tequila, and this is, it's so funny. When I saw this, I've gone through this many times and traveled in many other countries, because you ask for like, a shot or something, but they bring it to you in a drink. It can be a little confusing sometimes, but they took it. They didn't act the fool. Y'all need to take lessons, because some of y'all would have been at the table like, I didn't ask for this. No, come
get this.
This ain't no shot. Actually, that would have been me. I would have said that, but I would have just drank and just ordered it.
I mean, I'm culture.
You have some culture. You got to go in these countries, y'all. Just saying. And so Sheree talks about putting stuff out there, things that we should put on the table. And I put Monique, child. Courtney speaks up first, and she says that she didn't know that she had an issue with Kenya, and that she was told by Sheree that Kenya said she was invading her space. And so Kenya explains and says she felt like her touching her was very condescending. And Courtney says that, she feels like she gives mean girl energy. And Kenya kind of disregards that comment by just saying, well, Drew defended me by saying that, about boundaries. And so that's what it is. She really didn't acknowledge the comment. And then she doesn't make a comment about Candy's faces. And before I pass to you all, it's so funny when she said about Candy's faces, because I have been scrutinized for my faces by people. And I like how they was just like, you know what, that's just her faces, because that's what I say. And I hate to be like, that's just me, but realistically, it's just my faces. It should not always be taken out of context. And I think I like when she said that for me. So any thoughts on Courtney, I keep saying Monique. Courtney addressing Kenya and how Kenya responded regarding the touching and boundaries?
It did seem like Courtney was, it went from kind of giggly and laughy to a bit more serious. So I do understand why, Kenya kind of, said, hey, don't touch me, because that could have led to, I think, or escalated the situation, because Courtney didn't seem like she was really playing anymore. And Kenya, I think, just naturally kind of has a semi-nasty disposition anyway. So, there's that for me.
Mm-hmm. Asia, anything there?
I think Kenya was valid saying, don't, like, can you stop touching me? I think Courtney was valid for asking about the other part, or even bringing it up, because, like, girl, what problem do you have with me? Kenya will decide with Kandi on this beef just for no reason. And I think she was valid. And the thing I noticed about Drew and Kenya is they reflect they deflect in conversation to avoid the truth about what they really need to talk about. Kenya just didn't want to say, I don't like you.
Okay. Looking at some of the comments, Davis. I like Courtney and Kenya is a mean girl. I don't know. I haven't really seen her interact with her. I mean, that was the first time they ever interacted, and I don't know. It was just kind of, I didn't see an issue. Now with the touching thing, I will say, I think Kenya just didn't like what she was saying. I think it was less about her touching her. I don't think she was being condescending. I think she was just, she kind of sent for Courtney in that moment in a way by saying like their relationship was just like, but Courtney also responded back. I don't know what she was trying to say, but what I heard was, you are the wrong person to talk about getting along with somebody. But I'm wondering where that came from. So maybe they'll dive into that later. I don't know. Courtney's mic be on, but it be on and off sometimes. So who really knows? But we'll just go ahead into the next scene because it really wasn't a whole lot there. But yeah, Sammy said that she don't like her. I think she don't like her.
She just don't like her, and she just needs to say, "I don't like you."
Yeah, that would probably just help, but she didn't say that. Okay, so let's get into this part of the dinner because it's a lot. Child, I have to break my notes up because there's a lot that was said and done, but I'll try to make sure I'm in and out like I always am. Drew speaks and she talks about the lawsuit being brought up at the brunch, but adding to that, she finds out that Drew has been talking about it behind her back, not just at the table. Sheree finds out that Sheree's been talking about it behind her back, and this came from Courtney. And Drew is trying to speak. Sheree interjects, but then Drew is able to speak again, and Drew just basically says, "You don't do that to friends." Sheree says, "Well, we're becoming friends, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're not friends." Sheree immediately mentions that Drew lied on her on Dish Nation about the items being confiscated. The confiscation conversation is what she said. That was cute. And Drew says, "Well, I thought we already talked about that. I thought we were over that. So why are we talking about that?" And so all the ladies, chime in and say, that the merch was taken back minus the hat. Kenya says it was. Kandi was like, "So you think I'm lying about that? you think we will lie about that?" And so Sheree is still not getting it or whatever, and it basically says like that has nothing to do with me. I don't know how that's just your brand, so it has all the things to do with you. But I should have worn my other shirt that says "Don't do business," but I don't want to put down Black women businesses. However, don't do business with Sheree. So Drew takes me out because Drew was just like, I still didn't get no Sheree gift. Still, she was just like being so petty in this moment. And Marlo apparently got everything, and in her confessional, she's wearing the hat that everybody said they got. So it doesn't.
And really, the shirt.
And was it a shirt too?
She had on the Who Gonna Check Me Boo shirt.
She did. So she's wearing the hat. And so Drew just was like, listen, she kind of breaks it down. She's like, it's not cool because it's a lawsuit involved. And Sheree was like, it doesn't feel good, does it? And so Drew says, how are you hosting a trip about healing? You can't even hear your damn self. And I'll stop there, get y'all thoughts so we continue with this whole thing. Because it was, a back and forth between Drew and Sheree. Drew thought they were okay. She's trying to not confront her, but put things on the table, as Sheree just said. But Sheree was already on the defense. I'll start with you, Antonio. Thoughts?
So I thought this was good. I like the whole setup again. And I actually think I gotta kind of side with Drew on. Well, not kind of side with Drew. I gotta side with Drew on this one. Sheree said, "Hey, if it's an issue, bring it up. Let's talk about it." Drew brought it up, and Sheree immediately went into defense mode and started to cut her off. And one thing I did see that Kandi said on the video that I do agree with is that with Sheree, it's not necessarily about taking accountability for a situation or anything like that. It's about what can I do in this moment to win this argument? And that's really what I was getting from that situation. So Sheree had to, do what she needed to do to, in her mind, win the argument, because it was like her and Drew had the discussion about what Drew said. There was other people there that said, hey, we didn't get anything. Sanya, her good girlfriend, she didn't say it at the table. She, of course, said in her confessional where she says most of her shit.
Exactly.
Tanya said it as well, that she didn't get anything either. So I don't think that, I think that Sheree, instead of really listening for them to try and squash that situation and for her to really understand where Drew was coming from, whether we feel like the $1,000 was, met or not, still, it's her lawsuit, it's her $1,000. I think Sheree should have been open to listening instead of focusing on responding.
Mm-hmm. I concur. Asia.
I'm glad Sheree brought that shit back up. And you know why? It's because mainly it was because it was a lie. Andy got stuff. Like if Andy got stuff, if Sanya said the only reason she didn't get anything is because she went to the bathroom and came back, everything was gone. Kandi got stuff. Kenya got something. And then when they were trying to explain, like, oh, well, somebody said we have to return the stuff. And she was like, well, who? They couldn't say who told them to give the stuff back, and they all took stuff. Now, I think what happened with Drew is she just wanted that bag that was brought out, and that was the only thing they said you couldn't have. So Drew has a hard on, allegedly, for this bag that she couldn't take. Mm-hmm. And that's where everything's coming from. And of course, Kenya and Kandi just don't like Sheree. So that's where that's coming from. And then I think it's smart to be honest. Like, nah, I'm still not over that shit. Maybe I lied and said I was over it, but I'm not. Sheree is not over that. She did not like that at all. And that's why she probably just can't be straight with Drew. And Drew was saying like, no, but we talked about it already. And clearly her bringing it back up in my eyes is because I still don't like you for it. You still piss me off with it. And so I'm not over it. And that's why she kind of just gave up. She was like, well, I'm glad to see you can't heal. And she was like, nope, I can't heal, or whatever she said. Nope.
Yeah. I with everything y'all saying in terms of like Sheree has a lot of, not flaws. She has a lot of mishaps, along the way of all the things that she does. Unfortunately, her home, her businesses, the people she worked with, everything. Like she needs to be the one person taking accountability for a lot of stuff, because there's always an error, and sometimes it's not even her. Let's just say, for example, okay, yes, this is your brand, but if they're saying that this person, said, give me this back, then okay, I don't know what happened with that. That wasn't me, but let me figure out what happened. I know it's Housewives, so I get you gotta, but every time Sheree is just like, if she's like so the most non-perfect person, she should be taking the most accountability for everything. And it's crazy because in this moment, she did tell everybody to get things off their chest, but Drew really wasn't able to really do. She was, but she wasn't. I think if she would just actually listen to her without responding, they could have probably got somewhere, but she was already ready to pounce back. But Sheree, you are the wrong person to be coming for anybody about paying people and about anything with this business, because She by Sheree is a great idea, but let's be very clear. It is not a line. It is a merch. It is no different than what I have on this wall and what I got on this shirt. That's all it is. T-shirts with a damn logo on it. So, I mean, she needs to, let's talk. That's number one. And like, you don't pay people. That was your storyline last year. So let's not try to turn it around that fast. Like,
that was her storyline season 2 as well.
It's been her storyline for years. She don't pay people. She don't finish her house. Her She by Sheree never be done, and she would have made it's recycled, and things are recycled a lot on these shows. But this is uninterested. We don't like. We want to see her do better. I want to see her do a little better. I mean, she ain't my fave, but damn.
You want her to stay on in the reboot?
No, definitely not. I don't even want to see her in the legacy. I ain't got to see her in the legacy. I'm good. I am Sheree out. Okay, Sheree out. Poops. Period. Okay. Any other thoughts on this part before I move on? Okay. So after that, they go back and forth, and Drew says, "So you're incapable of moving forward," and Sheree says, "And you're a liar." Which
both things are true.
Two things could be true. Like, I don't think y'all lying about what y'all said about each other. Great analysis. That's what we can get to. But Sheree says that she was hurt, and Drew was just saying that she was just spilling her true feelings, like she was asked. And she wanted to get her feelings out, and then Sheree can get her feelings out. And Sheree tells her tone is off. I don't think her tone was off in that moment. I think she was just saying, like, let me speak first and then you speak, because she didn't get to do that. She really didn't. Sheree came in hot from like the second word. stuttering everything she does. And so after that, they kind of just leave it at that moment, and Kenya says that they're alike. They're like, looks like sisters. But then they kind of move on over, and as they talk about the French fries, and the hot French fries, I kind of cracked up, and she was like, "You want some French fries?" Like, "Oh yeah, they hot too." Drew is on the other side of the table. She was kind of getting emotional at this point, but she hadn't cried yet. And Kenya fixes her mouth. This is the gag for me the whole episode, to tell Sheree that she needs to be a better host.
Sorry.
And I said, I know Kenya, the worst host on Real Housewives of Atlanta, did not tell somebody else after she has failed at every trip, this thing she's playing. I know she didn't say that, but she said it. And that's the delusion of Housewives. So go ahead on. But she told her that Drew gets up and storms off, and she kind of is crying. They like, and Drew Marlo like, go get her. This your trip. Go get her. Everybody like, go get her. She's like, what? Sheree like, what? What I do? My merch doing fine. Whatever she said. I don't know what she said.
She said, oh no, Marlo said you hurt her feelings. She said, my feelings are hurt too.
Yeah, she said, my feelings are hurt too. And my brain, I gotta find somebody to iron these shirts. These wrinkled ass shirts.
Wrinkle couture.
And so she goes out and gets her, and that's how the episode ends. So any thoughts on just Drew breaking down? Did y'all feel bad for her?
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ash. You got the floor. Go ahead.
I didn't feel bad for her at all, because on this show, like petty stuff like that, don't start none, won't be none. You started it in terms of bringing that up. Sheree shuts you down. This is how they act. So it's not like no bully situation or nothing like that. If you are sensitive about being sued by somebody, and the girl who don't even pay her bills can really hurt your feelings about that, that's on you. Something else is going on with her. And I think if she like talked about that, like Ralph being in Vegas, she know he digging somebody else down, like I will understand her being really sad. She halfway across the world, but no, she want to blame it on this $1,000
$1,000
her attorney is handling allegedly. Like, girl, so if you can't be honest with what you really mad at, then I don't care. And that's how I really felt, because you're not going to get up and walk off because somebody was like, I'm mad at you because you said, you lied and said, I ain't give you no merch. Like, it's not that serious. It's just not.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's I don't know. It was because I was thinking, like, I even put in a group chat, like before it got to the part where Drew started crying and got him to walk away from the table. I was like, okay, Drew kind of handled this situation with Sheree, really good in my opinion. And she got up and walked away. I just didn't understand, but I agree. I do think it's, how like if you kind of going through something, it take one little thing to kind of push you over the edge. Yeah. I think that's what's going on here. I think we are finally starting to see that facade that her and Ralph been putting on this season start to crumble a little bit with this whole Vegas trip. So yeah, that's it.
I think she's worried about this. I think she's worried about some things, and this is probably what she knows, that things are just not great. We talked about early in the season how it seemed like things were going so good. He's been so supportive and stuff like that. But maybe for the cameras, we're seeing that, but maybe some stuff going on outside of the cameras that like the opposite. And this may be the start of it. But I mean, it's Drew and Ralph. They've been in counseling and going through issues since their first season 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. But this is the third season. So I see comments saying Drew is acting. She could very much so be acting. That's probably why she got the role. Yeah.
Is she that good of an actress? I mean, I thought she did pretty well in the stuff I remember her from, but I'm like, was she that good?
She's pretty. I mean, I don't like the girl, but she's pretty good.
Okay. Well, Asia says she's pretty good, and I believe what Asia says. That's what I'm going to
I got to take Asia's word for it.
Yeah. But that was the end of the episode. We made it through, child. And next week they're still in Portugal, and there is a big little moment that happens between Sonia and Moneta. She told her to lower her tone, lower her voice, and she was like, sit down. It was something like that. What happened? It was something I saw really quick.
When I looked at it though, I was getting they were maybe doing impressions.
You think so?
Because at one point somebody started to stand on a chair.
Yeah, it looked. You know
that's
what?
why I was like, are they serious?
If next week is a damn parody, I'm gonna be mad as hell. Okay, I won't. If it's a parody, I won't be here. Actually, I won't be here regardless. But I won't be here.
I did watch Speak on It though, and Kandi was kind of griping about the whole trip to Portugal. She been kind of like voicing her opinion a lot about production showing favoritism to people. And also, she felt like the trip to Portugal, she didn't really understand. She knows what it's supposed to be about, but they went during like an off season, so she was like there was not really any people out and stuff like that. She just was not impressed with them going to.
She's not impressed by a lot of things. She's over it. She just needs to admit she's over it.
Yeah, I agree with that. For real. I think she is, but I feel like the money is, I'm not going to say the money is so easy for her. It's kind of like hard to give up.
Yeah, that's true. But
she makes money doing everything else, and she ain't want to talk about the shooting. So,
I'm just glad that she's able to speak on this whole favoritism thing, because there were other women that kind of
said the same about her.
Who are they favoriting?
She said that she feels like they are currently, when they edit, she feels like they are showing favoritism toward like Marlo a lot of times. It was like she's like, she had a guest on there and they were talking. The guest actually mentioned it first, and Kandi was like, I said that if people said I was a hater, and it was like, you'll show them, they'll show a flashback or they'll show Marlo. They're trying to showcase her in like a softer light in hopes that people will be more open to, in increasing her likability factor is what they think.
Well, why are they doing that? Maybe because Kandi's boring and they're over her, and they want to move forward with Marlo as the Nene or whatever.
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to do is usher out the old and bring some new in slowly but surely. And so the beefs can be different, because it's gonna always be Kandi and Marlo going back and forth with each other now, and Kandi and King and Marlo going back and forth. We want Marlo to beef with somebody else at this point, because we've seen Kandi argue, we've seen Kenya argue. It's kind of stale. So Marlo, as thick as her tongue is, let her fight with somebody else.
I don't want that either.
Well, I wouldn't mind it.
Anyway, I really feel like, maybe after this season, I know I don't want to just keep saying reboot, but it may just be time, so we need to keep this going. And if I look at
Eva, we need Shamari, Eva.
I wouldn't mind having Eva, so she's a damn backtracking liar, but
But maybe Eva, I didn't think about it until Chase had sent earlier, and he mentioned Eva. I was like, okay, maybe Eva would rise and perform better with people like, Drew or Shamari or hell, even Portia, people that are, more around her age, because I wouldn't want to be arguing with somebody that's 57 or whatever either. Like, I just wouldn't want to. Not the ages and thing, because I'm in my early 40s, but damn.
You look good.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'll be 42 in October.
Oh, 42 to be exact.
Ooh, okay, Phaedra. Yeah, I keep Drew, keep saying keep whoever young under 40, or I don't know, but just no. And you keep Marlo for an extra season just so you have the gap in between going from one to the other. Yeah. I don't know, but I am.
I agree.
This is the episode, but we've been bored. We have been bored this season.
What episode is this? Episode 9 or 10?
10.
10. It took us this long. We had a pretty decent episode. I think episode 1.
Maybe like 1, 2, maybe. It's pretty good.
One.
And then
at the beginning, Chay, like, finally.
I want that shirt.
They could only, because they're doing a reunion toward the end of the month. That means they only have maybe 4 to 5 more episodes left.
I think I was, my sources, I was told that it's like 16 episodes of the season. So got 6 episodes left for what I'm hearing. So somewhere between 5 and 6 episodes left, and then they'll probably have a 10-part reunion. So that's
I
gonna
just
give
don't
it.
want that.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, have
I
they
am
given
not an ageist, Kelly.
ages
I
and
am
ages?
not an ageist. I don't care about age. I just know that when you have those big age gaps with everybody, you're not gonna mesh. So
Yeah.
I plan on getting as old as I can.
I think it worked. It worked earlier because Kim was very young and they were like in their 40s.
But the only thing was Kim didn't look or act that young.
Yeah, I mean, even like with Potomac, you got Karen who is
60 now. She just turned 60.
Candace was like, she's like those girls. She was like 30. Candace and Ashley were like 31, 32 when they got on the show, maybe a little younger. But actually,
But you know, they got like a good mix of girls. It's still Candace, it's Ashley who's younger. We don't really know how old Mia is. Robin is still technically, younger compared to like Giselle.
Just imagine Ramona, whatever, on this curve. But you have to, I do agree, it needs to be closer in age because it's only so much you can have in common. You can argue, but it's just like, at some age, you look at people like, girl, who you talking to? You kind of want to remove that. And
Even when Portia came on, they still had Phaedra there, Kandi, who are still in their 40s as well.
It was like a nice ladder where it's there's not really a ladder anymore. Whereas on Potomac, there is still like an age ladder. There's no real ladder here. It's just
put them in there and fingers crossed that it's gonna work. That's what they do.
Okay. Well, listen, with that being said, I didn't see anybody want to call in today, and that is totally fine. We love call-ins, but you guys didn't want to do that today, so we'll just leave it out there. Overall, I thought this episode was pretty entertaining. It was definitely, one of the better ones this season of the 10. Like I said, finally. Shout out to Jazz who's been in the chat. So we'll go ahead and leave out. I forgot to post this video earlier because this was my initial reaction when I watched this whole episode. It was
Sheree.
That's
Sheree.
how I felt, like Sheree. And every time I watch this episode and it's something about Sheree, I just go, Sheree, because I'm just sick of it. So with that being said, make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Asia and Antonio. We have been pushing out a lot of content. Last week, we did a couple of videos, some exclusive tea on the whole issues in Potomac with, what's her name, Kiana and Sesame Street. We were actually the first channel to discuss who these people were. But y'all won't give us that credit because y'all never do. But it's there. Make sure y'all check out Real Housewives of New York tomorrow. It's going to be live tomorrow. It's hosted by Jamie. So we got, New York, new era, new host. So he's going to be hosting tomorrow. We have Bell. So Bell Collective was actually done over the weekend, so that was posted already. And we have Love and Hip Hop Atlanta coming on. We're going to on Thursday, as well as our weekly lunch and leans regarding hot topics and all things whatever going on in the world, hosted by Chase. So like, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.
Buy the merch.
Yes, check out the merch. You can't find this because y'all got to buy the other stuff first. So don't ask because
we're not trying to sit on extra inventory, y'all.
I have a machine upstairs so I can make these things myself. So that's why I just do these things. But the stuff on the website is done from from professionals actually. Get it, order it, check it out, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, peace.
Good night.